The alley was Mike's first home, cold, damp, unforgiving. Rats scurried, seeking scraps. Like him, he learned to fight before he walked. Survival was the only law. His mother, a ghost, vanished early. Whispers said she flew with angels. Mike knew better. Angels didn't live in their gutter. Didn't die there either. He clung to his older brother, Danny. Danny, strong, fearless, protected him. Danny, who taught him to steal bread, dodge cops, disappear in the shadows. One day, Danny didn't come back. The streets swallowed him whole, left Mike alone, rage burning in his gut. But in that rage, a spark, a need for control, for power. Survival wasn't enough. Not anymore. Mike craved more. Respect, fear. He saw it in the eyes of the older boys, the gang leaders. He wanted that. He started small, petty thefts, protection rackets. His fists, hardened by years of fighting, became weapons. His eyes, cold, calculating. He was a survivor, learning to thrive in the chaos. Word spread. Mike, the kid with the devil in his eyes, ruthless, ambitious. He drew others to him, lost boys like him, yearning for belonging, for purpose. The streets, once his prison, became his hunting ground. He was rising, fueled by ambition and the memory of his brother. It was during a brawl with a rival gang, the Serpents, that Mike truly found his calling. Outnumbered, outgunned, he fought like a man possessed. He took a beating but never backed down. His ferocity, his absolute disregard for his own safety, instilled fear in the Serpents. They retreated, leaving their wounded behind. That night, Mike's legend was born. His own crew, a ragtag bunch of street kids, looked at him with awe. He was more than just one of them. He was their leader. He knew it too, felt the shift within himself. The responsibility of leadership settled on his shoulders, heavy but exhilarating. He would never be the same. Mike's gang, now calling themselves the Ravens, grew bolder. They expanded their territory, their operations. Drugs, protection, smuggling. Mike was building an empire from the ashes. He had a knack for strategy, for exploiting weaknesses. He was ruthless with enemies but surprisingly loyal to his own. His charisma drew in recruits, his ruthlessness kept them in line. The police, corrupt and overwhelmed, seemed powerless to stop him. Mike was a phantom, always a step ahead. His name, whispered in fear and admiration, became synonymous with power. The streets, once chaotic and unpredictable, were now under his control. Mike, the boy who had once scavenged for scraps, was now the uncrowned king of the underworld. Section 5, Blood on the Asphalt. Power once tasted is addictive. Mike's ascent wasn't without its price. Betrayal, violence, death, they became his constant companions. There was Tony, his second-in-command, gunned down in a drive-by. A bullet meant for Mike. He swore revenge, his heart turning colder with every life he took. He became a ghost himself, moving in shadows, trusting no one. Paranoia was the price of power. He built walls around himself, pushing away anyone who got too close. The streets ran red with the blood of his enemies and sometimes his friends. Mike accepted it as the cost of his ambition. He was building an empire, and empires were built on bones. Section 6, Consolidation of Power. Years passed. Mike's grip on the city tightened. He diversified his operations, investing in legitimate businesses, laundering money through casinos and nightclubs. He became a phantom philanthropist, donating to orphanages, funding community centers, a way to atone for his sins, or a calculated move to buy influence and public image. He kept his enemies close, forging uneasy alliances with rival gangs, corrupt officials, and businessmen with flexible morals. His word became law, his influence inescapable. The city, once teetering on the brink of chaos, found a strange sort of order under Mike's rule. An order enforced by fear, but order nonetheless. He had become the very thing he despised, the system. Section 7, The Iron Fist of Rule. Mike ruled with an iron fist, but he wasn't without compassion. He remembered where he came from, the hunger in the streets. He offered opportunities, a way out, to those willing to follow his rules. He established a code of conduct for his gang. No drugs in his territory, no preying on the weak. He knew that a community living in fear wouldn't be profitable in the long run, but his methods were still brutal. He dealt harshly with dissent, with betrayal. He justified it as a necessary evil, a way to maintain control, to protect what he had built. He was a study in contradictions, a ruthless criminal with a code of honor, a kingpin who still remembered the sting of hunger. He was a product of the streets, shaped by their violence, and now he was their master. Section 8, Whispers of Discontent. Despite his iron grip, whispers of discontent began to surface. A new generation, emboldened by a brief taste of peace, questioned Mike's authority. They craved something more than just survival. The old guard, those who remembered the chaos before Mike's reign, remained loyal. They had benefited from his rule, enjoyed the spoils of his empire. But the young were restless. They saw Mike's wealth, his power, and wondered why they couldn't have it all. They chafed under his rules, his control. The seeds of rebellion sown in ambition and resentment began to sprout. Mike, sensing the shift, knew he couldn't hold on forever. The streets were a fickle mistress. He had risen to power through violence and cunning, and he knew it could all be taken away just as easily. Section 9. Legacy of the Kingpin. Today Mike remains a force to be reckoned with. His empire, though shaken, still stands. He is a survivor, a master strategist, always one step ahead of his enemies. But the streets are changing. The old order is crumbling, giving way to new ambitions, new power struggles. Mike knows his time is limited. He has made many enemies and some debts can never be repaid. He has achieved what he set out to do, escaped the gutter, claimed his throne. But at what cost? His legacy is written in blood and shadows, a testament to his ruthlessness and his resilience. Only time will tell if his empire will outlive him, or if it will crumble, consumed by the same chaos from which it was born. One thing is certain, the streets of this city will never forget the name of Mike.